I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about UFC fighter Glover Teixeira wants UFC middleweight champion Alex Pereira to rematch Israel Adesanya, not fight Khamzat Chimaev. Wow, how about that? If Glover Teixeira could write the script, Israel Adesanya would be first on Alex Pereira's next fight list, not Khamzat Chimaev. The former light heavyweight champion Glover Teixeira wants to see Pereira live up to his full potential, which means not ceding a round to the now former middleweight. I like to see, okay, this is a quote from Teixeira, quote, I'd like to see that fight again just to make some adjustments. Teixeira Teixeira said on the MMA Hour. Alex Pereira, he's crazy, man. He watches the fight every time he comes to my house. We hang out all the time. We don't do too much stuff, but we hang out. I call him and go, hey, Alex, what are you doing? Man, bring the kids. I'll make some hamburgers. We hang out. I like to hang out and we talk stuff, but he sits down in front of the TV and says, hey, can you put my fight on? I'm like, bro, we've already watched it like 500 times, and he keeps watching it. He says, right there, you see, he says, right there, you see that, Glover? I think the fight happens right away, right now. I think Alex would beat Israel all the rounds. That's why I want to see it again. If the UFC asked me, I don't know why you would ask Glover. Glover, you decided. I say let's go with Israel Adesanya again because I want to see Alex beating this guy. Nothing against Adesanya. It sounds like he has something against him. The guy does an incredible job just as a fighter, as a coach, and as a friend. I just know I just know Alex Pereira can beat Israel Adesanya and probably not lose a round. Unquote. That's interesting because he was losing the first fight. At least he was, yeah, Adesanya was ahead on the scorecards, right? The first fight, the third official fight, but in the championship fight, Alexandria was winning. He was ahead on a lot of people judge his scorecard. So I, mean, I don't know what the hell Glover is talking about him not losing that the next fight, Pereira probably won't lose a round. But hey, he's gonna get better. He is the defending champion at that point, so I can see what he's talking about, making adjustments for the next fight so he doesn't lose any round. I can respect that. Israel was ahead on it. Okay, blah 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 blah. Anything else in here? Hold on. Let's get back to what Glover was talking about. I think if Alex had won the fight the way I won against Jan Blachowicz, like go in there and beat him in the first round or go in there in the second round and knock him out, I wouldn't be so crazy about it, Teixeira said. But the way the fight was going, I kept telling him, come on, Alex, you got to pull the trigger, man, because I know his potential. I know his power. What? Okay, that's interesting. Pereira stopped Adesanya in the fifth round by TKO, standing TKO. In the wake of the fight, UFC President Dana White welcomed an immediate rematch, though he didn't sketch out a timeline for that fight. Now here's the good part. This is what we're here for, right? With the new champion having snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, would-be contenders took advantage of the moment. Welterweight contender Khamzat Chimaev, a sometime middleweight, volunteered to move up in weight to take on Pereira and capture. What do you mean capture another belt? And capture a belt. The call-out got an immediate response, prompting Pereira to claim that Chimaev had turned down a light heavyweight fight at UFC 283. And now this is the good part. This is what Teixeira has to say about the Pereira versus Chimaev. This fight is all talk. I usually don't get into the talk that doesn't make any sense, but to go to light heavyweight, this guy said he accepted it. I remember Alex calling Jorge and saying, hey, Jorge, let's fight in Brazil. Who's Jorge? I don't know who Jorge. I said, What are you doing? You fight in Brazil. Your legs hurt. You kick so much. Your shins hurt. You haven't recovered. Just chill for a while." And he's like, "Yeah, but this guy, Chimaev is talking. I'll fight him at 205 pounds. I don't want to cut the weight. This is why I don't want to fight him at middleweight. But so I want to fight him at 205 pounds. Yeah, you can't cut that weight." Alex is very strong-minded. Teixeira does foresee a time when Pereira will physically be unable, wow, to make the middleweight limit. However, well, eventually, yes, he's much too big, and eventually that weight cut is going to stress him out, and he's going to talk about 205. Well, he's already talking about 205 pounds. When we started doing wrestling workouts with him, he started getting muscles, massive. He got at least 10 to 15 pounds of muscle before we started doing the wrestling. Before, he used to do kickboxing, running, kickboxing, so it was more like cardio. Now he's got to do all these weight sprawl, all these crazy things, and he's getting bigger and bigger. Right now, Teixeira wants to see the new champ make an even bigger statement, and the opponent for that is Adesanya. So I mean, we didn't really get too much about Chimaev. I probably should have read a lot less. I don't know where the hell I was reading. We should have got to the good part with as to why Teixeira doesn't want to see Alex Pereira fight Chimaev next. Not for too many crazy reasons. It's mainly he was just saying that Pereira just won a 5th round TKO versus Israel Adesanya. That was his first time in the 5th round in his MMA career, and then he was just saying like, what are you doing? You're gonna fight in Brazil 2 months after fighting, Israel Adesanya in November. He says, Glover says, to Alex, your legs hurt. You kicked so much. Your shins are hurt. You haven't even recovered. Just chill for right. He said, like, just chill for a while. And then Alex Pereira response was, but this guy is talking. Wow. So it doesn't take much to get a response from Pereira. Just talk, right? That's all you have to do is talk. There has been a lot of Chimaev talk fighting the winner of Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. There was some talk even before that fight that, if Israel was to win that, if Israel was going to win that fight, that a lot of people would have been saying like, hey, you know what, Chimaev probably would have got the next title fight for the middleweight championship. I like that idea, but there was a lot of UFC people trying to make Chimaev fight Colby Covington next. Chimaev did miss weight in his last welterweight fight. He was scheduled to fight Nate Diaz for UFC, I think it was like 279 or something. It was a UFC event in September of this year, but Chimaev ended up missing weight. He came in about 7 pounds overweight, about 7 pounds over the welterweight limit. So I don't really know how many more fights Chimaev is going to have in the welterweight division. Should he fight Colby Covington next? Or should he continue talking and head up and fight should he fight Alex Pereira next, right? There's some talk that maybe Israel Adesanya should sit out, wait a little bit, take some time off, and let Pereira defend the belt maybe one time, and then Israel Adesanya fights the winner of that. The reason why some people say that, and obviously Israel Adesanya clearly deserves a rematch, it's just that Alex Pereira personally is 3-0 in combat sports versus Israel Adesanya. Alex Pereira has defeated Israel Adesanya twice in kickboxing matches, one by decision. The second was by a KO. He flatlined Israel Adesanya. I think it was the second round, maybe the third round. So he was 2-0 versus Israel Adesanya in kickboxing, and then now in their third fight third combat fight, the first fight in MMA, Alex Pereira defeats Israel Adesanya by a fifth round TKO. So some people were saying we don't want to rush to an immediate rematch for Israel Adesanya, because if he loses that, then, when would he ever get another rematch, right? He would be basically 4-0 versus Alex Pereira. Pereira is like, what, maybe 5-6-0 in the UFC. There could be a good reason that, that Israel Adesanya won't receive another rematch after that, right? Like, the guy would be basically 4-0. If that fight is ended on another stoppage, Israel Adesanya won't be looking at too many more rematches versus Alex Pereira. So I like the idea of Chimaev and Pereira fighting next. I really, really do like that idea, especially because we haven't heard anything from Colby Covington in a very long time. If him and Chimaev were really gonna fight next, you think you would have heard something from either fighter. You don't really have Chimaev calling out Colby Covington. We haven't heard anything from Colby Covington about Chimaev. And the UFC loves when fighters, I wouldn't say make fights, but when the promotion is so easy, they don't really have to do much. These two fighters clearly have something going on, as far as Alex Pereira and Khamzat Chimaev. Like, Pereira said that he didn't really like that Chimaev was, quote unquote, talking. What was the word he said, right? Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. What did he say? He said he was talking, right? He said, just chill. He said, but his Alex Pereira said, yes, yeah, but Chimaev, this guy is talking, right? So there's something, it would be easy to make this fight next. Let me know your opinion of what's going to happen. There's a lot of UFC matchmaking to happen in 2023. Do you think Pereira should fight Khamzat Chimaev next, or do you agree with Teixeira that Pereira should fight Israel Adesanya next and have Chimaev, I guess, fight Colby Covington next? I prefer the Chimaev and Pereira fight next. But let me know your opinion of this story. I'm Jason UFC. Today we had a little bit of fun of UFC matchmaking. Glover Teixeira wants UFC middleweight, undisputed middleweight champion Alex Pereira to rematch Israel Adesanya next, not fight Khamzat Chimaev. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.